This is Professor Joe, once again here at the Hemingway home, and I'm continuing with episodes 21 through 30 of my Hemingway-esque pitch for a screenplay novel that I hope is one day soon made into a great movie series because of many reasons. I think it would well reflect the Jesuits who educated me. But I was leaving off on episodes 21 through 30. And episodes 21 will be the last part of the heroic leadership section of the Danger Close overall project. And it will begin in year 1600, also in Rio de Janeiro, country or airport code gig, where Nobrega and Anchieta, among other Jesuits, exercised the heroic leadership which led to the success of the first Jesuits. Episode 22 will switch to Delhi and some of the great cities of India, where the first Jesuits also expanded and did missionary work, which is the same as counterinsurgency work. The great insight that I had in a brief conversation with General Tulin briefly was that Marines and Jesuits are the same thing. Now at the age of 50, which is the same age when Ignatius started his greatest work, and by no means am I an Ignatius, but I mean to teach through many different means about Jesuit leadership, which is synonymous with veteran leadership, Jesuit entrepreneurship, veteran entrepreneurship. So episode 22 will be set in India, where some of the great early Jesuits did their work. Episode 23 will be set in Macau, where a Jesuit by the name of Ricci, R-I-C-C-I, did some of his great work in China, which will be a important area of history to study and contemplate now, where the Catholic Church, but more broadly Western civilization in the United States, has its greatest challenges in being able to continue to work towards peace, but if not peace, be prepared for just war with Cynic civilization, one of 7 civilizations that Harvard professor Samuel Huntington identified in The Clash of Civilizations, which has turned out to be a very accurate predictor. Episode 24 will be again in Brazil, working backwards through the types of missionary / really counterinsurgency struggles that Jose Anchieta led the native people to because of a social justice issue, namely to avoid slavery, which was going to be imposed on them by the French. And so he is a Spanish missionary, was working towards social justice. So 25, again, we'll switch back to India. So 26 will as well be set in Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, two of the megacities that are over 10 million today, which Jose Anchieta founded. Episode 28 will be set closer to the origins of Jose Anchieta in Spain, where he started his life and ministry as a Jesuit priest under the leadership of a flawed man, Ignatius of Loyola, who was probably too aggressive in battle, which is the reason he went into another line of work. Episode 29 will go into the life of Ignatius, which was far from perfect. He went through what the writer Jim Collins talks about as 5 levels of leadership. And the first 3 or 4 levels of leadership were, not always mature and pretty. But we'll go through Ignatius' life in Spain. And one of the reasons that this is appropriate now, especially here at the Hemingway home, is that Ignatius was very much like Hemingway, a flawed man. But he also physically operated in Spain during warfare that was fought in Spain, where Hemingway and Gellhorn wrote as journalists, and where much of the clash between Western civilization and Islamic civilization has taken place. Episode 29 will go to even the middle life of Ignatius of Loyola, when he goes to Paris and studies and prepares for a life of service after being wounded. And then episode 1, episode 30, will be the early life of Ignatius of Loyola, which is by no means very pretty. He is said to have, in one early adolescent episode, gotten into a physical fight, and then falsified some information to try to get out of liability for the fight. But he was carrying a knife. So these are all the types of behavior that we saw in the life of Ernest Hemingway and through much of his literature. And that's where I'll end it for today. And I'll end it with a prayer of Ignatius. Lord, teach me to be generous. Teach me to serve you as you deserve. To give and not to count the cost. To fight not to heed the winds. To toil not to look for rest. Labor not to seek war. Say that knowing that I'm doing your will. Thankful for God to be here in Key West, Florida, where I can swim and bike and go see friends like the military base or the VFW, which are really my family. Jesuits do these examines 2 times a day for 2 minutes. And whether you're Catholic or Muslim or Jewish, it's a good management technique. So, thanks. I'll see you in class.